Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I am Jumoto Hashi, Program Specialist in Education for Sustainable Development from UNESCO headquarters.
I am Ji-hyun Kim, Program Specialist in the Office of Research and Development from UpSeiU.
Today is the last day of the forum, and we come to the end of the program. Together with Ji-hyun, we will co-moderate the closing ceremony.
Before moving on to the final remarks, we would like to virtually invite you to the host country, Korea, and share some of the highlights from the past 3 days of the forum.
20 in Bangkok, and the 5th edition is live streamed from Seoul.
Welcome to everyone to the 5th UNESCO Forum on Transformative Education for Sustainable Development, Global Citizenship, Health and Wellbeing.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Director of APCU.
이번 대담은 번역 교육에 대한 대담입니다.
Y nuestra objetivo.
Après, en ce qui concerne les universités, bien sûr, il y avait beaucoup.
I think we need to acknowledge that we're all from different lands.
Muchas gracias y les doy la bienvenida a todos.
Zoom in on the support necessary for teachers to continue fighting for quality education, quality transformative education in the classroom.
We experienced that since 2014 and
we have an environmental education center.
Transformation occurs at two levels, at the level of the learner, but also at the level of the collective.
Presentation, I think that we can fostering transformative education.
Health and well-being also enshrined in Target 4.
Les sessions étaient très instructives et inspirantes et j'espère vraiment avoir l'occasion d'assister à plus d'événements sur l'éducation transformatrice.
SDG 세부 목표 4.7 이행에 있어서 각 국가별로 어떤 비전을 갖고 있는지 또 어떤 노력을 하고 있는지 볼 수 있어서 매우 뜻깊고 또 의미 있는 시간이었던 것 같습니다.
I am reminded that our shared humanity, collective convictions and actions to transform our lives through education will allow us to persevere in guiding our students in their learning to learn journey. Together, we can make this new normal a better normal for all.
I was excited to take part in this inspiring and important global forum. And even though the COVID pandemic has separated us, technology has still allowed us to connect. And through this virtual
I hope you enjoyed the short visit and the performance as well as the forum highlights. And now I would like to invite Ms. Ella Susarenko. She's a youth leader from Moldova. Please welcome Ms. Susarenko. Anna, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be invited to talk to this forum and to give closing remarks, especially to express the youth voice and youth expectations when we speak about transformative education. First of all, I want to congratulate you with the forum and the sessions that were held here, but mostly I want to congratulate you with the commitments that were made during these 3 days, which I think are the best result of the forum, and I really look forward to see how they'll be fulfilled. When speaking about education, first thing that came to our mind is about access to education. And education is something that we want to be accessible for everyone on this planet. All citizens should have access to education when they need it, no matter of age, location, or interest. Education should be there, up to date and easy to access. And I think if we start from this, then we have already the number one commitment. And we know that having access to education, we can improve the lives. And that's what we have to keep in our mind when speaking about education goals and indicators. First priority is education accessible for everyone, up to date and available in each community. We young people are happy that this forum is taking place. We are happy that high-level officials, decision makers are talking about education. We are happy that they came together to one table to discuss education as a priority. Because if we want education to be important, if we want transformative education to be in place, then it should be a priority. It should be a priority that has investments of time, efforts, and money. Just in this way, we can reach a transformative education goals and values, and we can also speak about global citizenship education values. There is no question that education is the way to transform our lives. There is no question that today we are all global citizens, living in the most connected world, both physically and virtually. Anything can easily go from one part of the world in another part of the world in just several seconds. But what if the things that are going from one part of the world to another part of the world are the values of global citizenship education? What if we all share good practices and experiences in transforming our lives through education? As there is no doubt that we are all global citizens, there are huge differences on how we feel about being global citizens. In the most developed countries, we believe that being a global citizen means to contribute to a better world, means to contribute to transforming our lives. But what do you think means to young people from Kiribati to be a global citizen when he or she is suffering from the most from the consequences of climate change, which is a global citizenship problem as well, or issue? So do we want to advance transformative education and make learners to feel valued, knowledge, and safe, even when we speak about young people and learners from Kiribati, a country that most probably will disappear in several years if we do not take actions today? Empowering teachers is one way to go, and it's something that we heard during this forum, and for sure we support this. But we want also to speak more about how do we empower learners? How do we empower young people? How do we make them to feel drivers of education, not just receivers of education? Young people today demonstrate or prove that they have a voice. They are those that lead the changes around the world. They are the leaders of civil society organizations, leaders of political parties, leaders of research institutions. They are those that prove that they have the voice. But is there enough space for their voice? Do decision makers hear them? Do they invest time and effort to take into consideration their opinions, their voice, their expectations? Young people today know that if they want to be powerful, they should involve everyone, starting from those living in Kiribati to those living in most developed countries. But how this voice can hold accountable the decision makers, starting with those leading the countries like Kiribati and most developed countries? How those high officials are feeling that they should respond to the voice of young people. And how much this voice is expressed and present in the events that are happening today. How much space we offer, and if that space is enough. There is no correct or wrong answers. And I'm sure that we may have very different opinions on how this is included. But for sure, these questions and these topics should be addressed more and should be discussed more. And these 3 days made us aware of this. So in the end of my intervention or short intervention, I just want to ask everyone to think about 3 main questions, to think about their role in transformative education, and just try to answer yourself or to plan for yourself what you can do as an individual for transformative education today, what you can do as an individual to foster transformative education tomorrow, in 1 week, what you can do by next year, this time. what you can say next year or in 2 years at this forum about transformative education and the results that you have as an individual? What about the institution that you are part of or organization that you are leading? Think about the results or the good changes that you can bring, and do not think about big changes that will be not possible to reach in 1 year or 2 years. Think about very small things that you can start today. Speak today with someone about the forum, about the recommendations from the forum. Share tomorrow a post about your commitment to education. Inspire others to commit to transformative education. In 1 year, help learners to feel more safe, more valued, and more inspired to attend educational programs and processes. And do not forget about the commitment you just made in your mind. I hope you made in your mind now. And good luck with this. Good luck with the actions that you are willing to take. And do not forget, young people are not just the receiver of education. They are also the drivers of education. Think about what you can do today, tomorrow, in 1 year. And let's bring the changes starting from our own actions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, and also for raising these very important questions. Now, let me invite the next youth speaker, Ms. Shama Bulangis from the Philippines. She is a co-chair of the youth initiative Transform Education, led by United Nations Girls Education Initiative, UNGAI. Shama, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, June, and thank you very much, Anna, for a great intervention. Maayong gabi kanatong tanan. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Good evening, everybody. Buenas tardes a todos. Bonsoir à tous. 안녕하세요, 여러분. Thank you so much. And honestly, I'm very happy that a BTS song was played. My heart is very, very full. The past days has been a learning sprint of what transformative education means and its components, how to embed it in curriculum changes, and especially how to assess the kind of transformation it creates. Imyan Mokshi asked a very important question at the start of the conference. What are the specifics of transformative education? Is it individual or systemic? And how do we measure attitude and value changes, including competencies and the standardized learning outcomes? If there's anything positive that we learned during COVID and the lockdowns, it's that we are able to learn how to slow down and be considerate of each other at an unprecedented time. I doubt that this has been ingrained in all of us. One can only wish. But with that, I just wanted to point out that one of the things that wasn't mentioned is that there now exists a great tension between accelerating implementation and slowing down for others to be able to keep up in order to really leave no one behind. And hopefully that is something that we can ponder on. And I'll leave it at that. I just want to highlight a few things that we already mentioned, but bears another emphasis. Number 1, student agency. Number 2, collective and solidarity learning. Number 3, decolonization of concepts and competencies. As a coalition of young feminist organizations who are doing the work on ending school-related gender-based violence, gender equal climate education, girls' education in crisis, queer inclusive education, gender transformative education, among others that are also listed in my background right now. Transform Education, hosted by UNGAI, believes that we are transforming education to shift the power. Power dynamics in schools are usually skewed against students, especially with a top-down approach and hierarchical attitudes within schools and administrations. Student agency, as mentioned by Tago Mamihusan of OECD, to us means meaningful partnership with youth activists and decision-making processes. That students and young youth are active in influencing state policies, as mentioned in the example by Isong Yung Gyosu, or even are part of decision-making bodies. For example, youth and student representation in local school boards and its iterations in our countries. The inclusion of young youth and student representatives in curriculum change meetings as quote unquote extreme users of these curriculums. Secondly, as a feminist organization, we in TE also put much emphasis on collective and solidarity learning. We understand that education exists also outside of the classroom, in our communities and our families. This means that everything is connected and that we shouldn't work in silos. And the recognition that sustainable development works alongside gender equality, alongside decolonization, alongside global citizenship, and alongside community consciousness. This means that the work is complex, but because the work is so complex, we can't put all the burden on our teachers. I've seen this in my grandma, my mom, my dad, my uncles were small town teachers. Politicians and decision makers need to take a huge part in passing policies that support the type of transformation that we want to see, in giving young people the agency to be able to change policies that affect us, and not just use our participation as a token, despite the uneven and unfair policies that they're setting. This work is beyond formal education. This is community work. In the same breath, we expect so much work from our teachers, from teaching and administrative work without paying them enough. As Sir Bertuga mentions, giving more time for teachers to teach, and I'd like to add, higher pay for teachers even. Collective and solidarity learning means standing in solidarity with each other, even outside of formal education as well. As Chandrika Bahadur said, among the many great points that she has dished out in the recent plenary, many of the concepts are not new. And a decolonized way or a power shifting way of looking at it is maybe the most resourced, should provide more flexibility in the criteria and in any indicators, and not those who are on the ground who are less resourced that have to fit in the standards set from above. Assessment for education, after all. I'm very happy that we're looking to Asia for case studies. And as a possible standard for what transformative education looks like. We have an opportunity here to keep the momentum and continue to decolonize our strategies in transforming education. What this needs is intentional efforts in shifting the power. We need to tap into the power of partnership and collaboration among sectors, meaningfully partner with young activists as co-leaders, including feminist leadership within education. To transform education is not only to change iterations of rollouts, of trainings and or strategies, it's also to make sure that the processes are consultative, that collaboration is prioritized, that it recognizes the agency of all actors, and most especially, that it shifts power to those who are the most affected and marginalized in society. As we say in Transform Education, education shifts power and we demand a power shift. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Shama, for your very inspiring message. Now we will move on to the closing remarks. I would like to invite Mr. Shigeru Aoyagi. He is the director of UNESCO Asia Pacific Regional Bureau for Education. Mr. Aoyagi, you have the floor.
Thank you. Dear participants, colleagues, good evening from Bangkok. The forum has gathered more than 1,600 participants around the world. This was the first time that UNESCO Forum series addressed the concept of transformative education by expanding the initial forum scope of GSET, ESD, and education for health and well-being. This step was made to recognize the importance of healthy, safe, and inclusive learning environments, free from fear and want, to optimize the quality of learning towards individual and societal transformation. We are very pleased to see that our community of practice is growing. covering an increasing number of complex and diverse aspects that are crucial to make this transformation happen. It was in 2015 that the international community adopted Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, and UNESCO always emphasized the role of education as a critical means to achieve all SDGs. 6 years down the line, where do we stand? As this question guided this forum, we particularly looked into what does transformative education look like at local, national, regional, and global levels. Now, we have a clearer idea, a common understanding of what transformative education entails, which is inherently diverse, and where localization is key. We also addressed the important role of teachers and educators as central change agents. Over the past 3 days, we managed to share and give a closer look to a wider range of good practices and lessons learned. We also delved into the world of rich data. We came to realize that it is indeed possible to collect data in transformative education, but we also explored its limits, complementarities, and opportunities for further research and implementation. So, where do we go from here? It was very encouraging to hear from our 2 previous speakers, Anna and Shama, who also shared their visions and aspirations for the future, and their ideas on what they could also do as co-creators of our education. After the forum, UNESCO will start drafting an outcome document based on the recommendations and good practices highlighted during the different sessions to pave the way forward and put into action in close collaboration and cooperation with education partners who joined this forum and beyond. You will be kept informed of next steps as part of the community of practice on transformative education. Finally, on behalf of UNESCO, I'd like to cordially thank our host country, the Republic of Korea, in particular, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A special thanks should go to our co-organizer and important partner, APSEU, the UNESCO Category 2 Center. Thank you very much to each and every one of you who actively contributed to the success of the forum as moderator, speaker, exhibitor, or participant. I also thank you also to the colleagues of IOCOMBEX, interpreters, and our own colleagues of UNESCO. I'm very much looking forward to our continued further collaboration. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your words, Mr. Aoyagi. Now I would like to invite our last speaker of the forum, Mr. Hyun-Mook Im, Director of APSEU. Mr. Im, you have the floor.
Thank you, June. Distinguished participants, dear colleagues and friends, thank you all for your participation in the UNESCO Forum on Transformative Education for Sustainable Development, Global Citizenship, Health and Well-being. This 3-day forum has brought together educators, teachers, researchers, policymakers, practitioners, youth, and other stakeholders from different parts of the world. As Mr. Aoyagi has just said, more than 1,600 people have participated in the forum. This clearly shows the keen interest in transformative education and its increasing importance in today's critical situation. Dear participants, colleagues and friends, during the forum, we have confirmed our commitment to transformative education, engaged in fruitful discussions, especially on the monitoring and evaluation of its progress, and suggested actions that each of us should take individually and collectively. But of course, our challenges are not simple. Education is a complex social process, and quite often it becomes a place of sharp disagreements between divergent interests and beliefs. So transforming our education is not simple either. It requires tremendous efforts and time and energy. And I believe that when there is consensus in the international community, it will be great support and stimulus for multiple stakeholders at the national level. So the forum like this one is most valuable and precious. I hope the momentum for transformative education generated at this forum will be kept and sustained in the coming years. In this regard, I am truly grateful for your participation and contribution. Special thanks to the speakers and moderators for sharing your views and insights. Your contribution has given us a lot of inspiration and encouragement. Thank you so much. I thank the technical team for managing this online forum. Unfortunately, some technical problems occurred and caused some trouble. If there was any inconvenience in relation to these technical problems, please kindly understand. I also thank the interpreters for their tireless efforts until late in the night to make this multilingual event possible. Lastly, let me thank our organizing team. As you may have seen in the forum homepage, the organizing team consists of UNESCO colleagues at the headquarters in Paris and regional offices all over the world, and APSEU colleagues. This global forum was prepared by this wonderful team of committed and passionate colleagues of UNESCO and APSEU who made enormous efforts to identify most pertinent session topics and formats, and subsequently find and contact speakers and panelists. Every member of this organizing team deserves our special thanks, but just to name a few: Alexander, June, Cecilia, and Lydia in Paris, and Jungmin, Jihyun, Yujong, Jungmin Ko, Eugene, and Yongshin in APSEU for their efforts and hard work to prepare and coordinate this entire event. Thank you so much. Now it is time to say goodbye to you all. As a co-organizer of this forum, APSEU had such a great honor and pleasure to meet you all and learn from your experiences and ideas. Thank you all again, and wish you very best until we meet again soon.
Thank you, Mr. Lim. So this comes to the end of the 5th UNESCO Forum on Transformative Education for Sustainable Development, Global Citizenship, and Health and Well-being. You can also watch the sessions again on the YouTube.
I also would like you to know that the online platform will remain open for a couple of months for videos on demand and other relevant materials. The Forum Secretariat will share more details by email. Thank you so much once again, each one of you, for your very active participation from all over the world. We wish you all the best. Please stay safe, well, and happy. We will see you again. Thank you.